So we have a lady who was a former ICE official is saying that there's no way in hell that Trump will be able to deport all those illegal immigrants that he said he was going to deport. But let's hit it.
Former ICE officials tell NBC5 Investigates they're not surprised that ICE may struggle to meet the president's goals. President Trump has talked of deporting more than 13 million people. But so far here in Texas, the state with the second largest undocumented population, we've seen few visible signs of increased ICE enforcement. So what's happening? Tonight, NBC5 investigates the numbers and why a former ICE director tells our Scott Friedman there is no way ICE can deport 13 million people.
Put me on film here, put me on the record, I can predict that's not going to happen. 13 million people are not going to be removed from this country. Certainly not in this year, not in the 4 years of this administration.
Sarah Saldana knows ICE from the inside. She led the agency under President Obama. Back then, Tom Homan, now President Trump's border czar, was Saldana's head of enforcement operations.
Interesting, because wasn't Obama named the deporter in chief? So she knows that they can get people out of here. But wonder why she's so pessimistic. Is it because it's a Republican president and not a Democratic president that is trying to do the job? Just wondering.
As a former prosecutor and U.S. attorney for the Northern District of Texas, she believes in ICE and its mission. But she also believes there's no way the agency is equipped to arrest, detain, and deport the millions President Trump has promised.
We will begin the process of returning millions and millions of criminal aliens back to the places from which they came.
You say that's impossible. Why? What are the limitations?
Well, there are a number of them. First, logistically, don't forget, we need to find these folks. They're not coming forward and saying, come get me. They're in the shadows, as people have said before.
And how labor intensive is that?
Very labor intensive.
This is what it looks like. In photos ICE has posted on social media over the last 3 weeks, you can see these are not mass arrests. Instead, teams of officers locate migrants one at a time. Mostly, the agency says, people with criminal records.
And I'm quite sure they're not going to post every last person that they arrest and deport. That's because if you do get 14 million people, that's a lot of cloud space. I don't know if you got enough data, enough room. You're gonna have to find those. You're gonna have to find some more free up some more money to be able to afford that much cloud space.
Captured in Operation
I take it back. Take it back. Hell, if I look at probably my daughters and the granddaughter's phone, there's probably about 14 million pics in their phones too. So yeah, they could do it.
Saldana says
Get them, hire a teenager. They'll put all the pictures up.
require many officers to safely apprehend a single person.
I would venture to say, based on my experience, that let's say out of 10 operations that would occur on a given day, you might yield 2, 3 immigrants who are not in the country under authorization.
The White House says ICE made about 8,000 arrests nationwide in the first 2 weeks of the administration. The largest single-day number was 1,100. Even if ICE could repeat that number every day for 4 years, it would total about 1.5 million arrests.
And another reason why it might take a while is because have you seen the stories that said that a lot of these migrant shelters are empty now since Trump got in office? So that means they are running, and a lot of them are going back home. And maybe a lot of them are hiding somewhere. But I'm just saying, it's not like, like she said, they're not going to just jump out and say, here I am. They will try to hide and things like that. But eventually, you can only hide for so long.
Far short of 13 million.
There's just a limited number of officers that ICE has to go out and arrest people.
Paul Hunker.
Hold up. Limited number of officers. Amazing, because if you go here, boom. Go to www.ice.gov. You have careers and how to apply. Dig nabbit. If you know somebody who needs a job now, there is some standards and qualifications that you have to work for the immigration and custom enforcement, and it could probably take weeks to months. I know because I when I worked for the VA hospital, it took it took a long time for them to hire you. I've heard people say it take up to maybe a year and a half. I think it took me like 8, 9 months to get hired, and I think I had a pretty clean background. So, but hey, you're doing it for your country. You're doing it for your fellow citizen. Go ahead and apply and dig nab it, get in there and help round up and process these felons. Let's continue.
Was the lead attorney for ICE in Dallas, working closely on enforcement efforts. He says ICE will need a lot of help from other federal law enforcement agencies to increase arrests. In the meantime, he believes ICE will continue to publicize these images in an effort to give the public an impression ICE is everywhere.
The administration will do their shock and awe type of operations to try to send a signal that this is happening more broadly than it actually is happening, to scare people.
In North Texas, the agency has released details of only a few arrests, including a man apprehended in Hillsborough, wanted, ICE says, for a homicide in Mexico, and another in Fort Worth, they say, wanted for murder in Guatemala. It's what the agency calls its worst first strategy, prioritizing arrests of immigrants with alleged criminal histories. On one recent Sunday, ICE said teams of officers fanned out across DFW and arrested 84 people, including a man seen arrested in this surveillance video. ICE has declined to say whether he had a criminal history. But the agency says some of the 84 arrested that day were picked up at local jails, where they were already being held on other charges. Nationally, research has shown about 7 out of 10 people ICE arrests are handed over by other law enforcement agencies.
That's what I like to hear. Law enforcement working together for the greater good of the U.S. citizen.
Jail's one of the most likely avenues for them to try to increase the pace of all of this?
Yes, I think so. It's a relatively safe and efficient way for ICE to assume custody of a person.
NBC5 Investigates reached out to ICE and the White House to ask how they plan to increase the pace of arrests, but we did not hear back. Sarah Saldana believes if arrest numbers don't increase as rapidly as the administration hopes, it might abandon the worst first strategy and begin targeting community locations like day labor sites.
That is really a big concern of mine, because that's not again, a stretch to think that might happen next. If the numbers are not coming through, let's get the low-hanging fruit.
She believes ICE should continue to focus its limited resources on migrants who pose a safety threat, not undocumented people working and contributing to the community.
What do you say to those who say, but I don't understand, they're not here with authorization. Shouldn't they all be removed?
And again, in a perfect, sanitized, uncomplicated world, which I think we can all agree is not the case, perhaps that is true, but we're not.
She says the massive expense of arresting, holding, and deporting immigrants means tough choices, and she sees long-term solutions only if Congress can agree on a new system that protects public safety without targeting millions.
Here's an idea. Like those fellas that beat the day labor spots, like outside of Home Depot, outside of Enterprise, rent a car spot. If y'all so concerned with them being deported, I saw Chicago walk around, hand out cards saying, here are your rights. If somebody comes, if you suspect or ICE agent is, coming at you, why don't y'all round these people up yourselves and show them how to get their paperwork done? You've had all this time to get it done. Now that Donald Trump is in office, now you're acting like it's like an emergency. Got to hurry up and get them out of here. Well, you know where these people are at, because hell, we know where they at. If we know where they at, we know exactly where they hang out at. We can probably point them all. We can probably point out a good 10, 20 of them easy on a daily basis. You can round up 13 million of them real quick. But if y'all so concerned about their well-being, you could have been showed them how to get their paperwork done. And if they can't get paperwork done, then you should just tell them, hey, y'all need to lay low or going back to your country, because when they come get you, ain't nothing we can do. But like I say, I think it's all fake rage right now.
I can't believe that we're not willing to do the work and the thinking in order to arrive at some resolution. It's out there. It's out there.
While ICE is first targeting people with criminal histories, they are also now apprehending what they call collaterals, people with no criminal record but who happen to be near someone who is arrested. And any undocumented person who ends up in jail, even on a minor offense, will also likely now end up in ICE custody. Law enforcement officials tell us, Brian, at the moment at least, avoiding those situations is one way migrants could avoid an encounter with ICE.
Lots to keep an eye on, for sure.
So the lady said that there should be a plan out there. She can't believe that no one's come up with a plan to be able to round up the people, the felons and the violent offenders, and not have to target, low hanging fruit, as she said. What is her solution? See, I don't like nobody who complains about how things are being done, protest, speak their opinion, but yet you don't even have a solution. You don't have an option. I mean, a solution may not be a good one, but you at least have a plan or an idea on how to do it. And then when you come up with this idea, tell us how to work it, so that way it can protect everybody that you feel needs protection. But until you can do that, you should keep your mouth shut, allow ICE to do their job, and let them get the illegal. I'm sorry, they came in illegally. I mean, you violated, you commit a crime. It's just that simple. If a U.S. citizen committed a crime, no matter how small or how big, you get caught, you got to do your time. You got to pay the penalty. So she should just go with that. You know what I'm saying? Respect the law and tell people to go here and look for a job, so that way they can work for the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement and get the bad apples up out of the country. But anyway, with that being said, tell me what you think about this story. Leave your comments below. Share it with the world. Let's have an intelligent conversation. You know how we do around here. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Those 4 things cost you nothing but maybe a couple of minutes out your day, but it means the world to us here. If you would like to support us financially, you can please do so by giving super thanks, super chats, super stickers. And you can go to the description box, and there are a couple of links there you can click on to help support us there. Matter of fact, you can click on there and hook your boy up with a hot cup of hot cacao with a little bit of honey. Goes down smooth, tastes great, full of antioxidants, and is healthy for you. Better than that manufactured, genetic, modified cocoa that y'all like to drink. Full of sugar and probably high fructose corn syrup too. But anyway, also don't forget to hit that shop button and go to marlonmorales.com, where we have great products that I know you would love. We got perfumes, colognes, silks, beard products, handbags, and more. Just check it out. I know you will love it. And with that being said, I leave you in peace, and I'll see you on the other side.